Hello everybody and welcome back to Coaster Shardark, and welcome back to building Drayton Manor in Planet Coaster. Yes, it is my Drayton Manor recreation, and this is now episode 16. Wow, we are storming through these episodes, and the park is looking pretty good now, which is a pretty happy sight to see. It's all coming together, which I am quite happy with. And as you can see right now on the screen, I am building I guess I'm rebuilding the turnaround section within the jet building. So pretty much there is a backwards section on Stormforce 10 if you have not ridden it, and there is a turntable inside of this big, I guess, like petrol container, I guess you could call it, and that's where the switch track is, and you go backwards down the drop back onto another switch track before you carry on just with your normal wetting activities on the ride. So just making sure that the rest of this area is a bit cleaner by raising up some of the area. And in this next clip, I am slowly and surely putting the trees along the road that goes, not even a road, it's a path that goes around the edge of the lake. So you know how they put the wooden structures by saplings to make them look better? That's what I did. So now I'm just doing a bit more work on this area over by Buffalo. Got to make sure that Buffalo is looking good. It is, I think it is it is the oldest coaster in the park. Quick lightning fast POV. You know, I would love to hit some of these G-forces that you get there on Buffalo, because who would not? We are foosies. We want to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour round a nice, what's meant to be scenic helix. So just making sure that there is a bit more greenery around this area of the park. It is important. And looking at the Drayton Queen, I was thinking, could I add in another steamboat ride? And then for the rest of the clip, I pretty much just randomly felt like making scenic views of some of the attractions in this park. I don't know why, but I guess it gives you guys a bit of a view on what I have built so far. So just real quick rerouting pretty much most of the antique cars ride. You know, you guys know my opinion on this one. I'm not the greatest fan of the mechanic scene, and this bit is a bit rapid fire. It's just I am building up the air race, and that's all looking good. Just stacking pieces of the shapes on top of each other until it gradually builds up, and yeah, it's all looking very, very good. Because of how, for some reason in Planet Coaster, despite pretty much all air races having a cone, they decided to put a skyscraper around the middle, so you gotta just add in the cone. I probably should have checked if somebody else who didn't want to spend 40 minutes of their life making a big cone for themselves, if they just downloaded one or made one in Blender or something and it was on the workshop. I probably should have checked that. And now I'm nearing the top, making sure that the stripes are stripy, and finishing off with a nice big cone. No, I am not finishing off with a nice big cone. No, I am finishing off with a nice big cone. And I just needed to check what with the reference image and Now I'm just making sure that the rest of the cone fitted to the colour scheme, because I put way too many stripes in where there didn't need to be way too many stripes in. So just making sure that the colour is just how it looks like in real life. So that is the cone in the middle of Air Race. So here is the main clip of the day. This clip here, that is over an hour long. The one before, that was, I think I spent 40 minutes on that, and 20 times speed, shorten it down quite a lot. So now I'm just adding in that logo, I guess, into Apocalypse. The Apocalypse logo is pretty good. It's a shame to see that Apocalypse is on the chopping block for Drayton Manor, but then I guess it kind of gives me something else to build as well, because new ride at Drayton Manor equals lots of things for me to talk about. Correct? Yeah, that is correct. So I'm just adding in the wooden floor around the outside of Drunken Barrels, making sure that it doesn't overlap with the exit. There is quite a lot of wood in this building. We know how many trees they chopped down to put wood in this building. So now I'm just putting a border around where this path of the queue is meant to go, and putting in some of the wood, because wood. Well, I would put in a bit of wood if I could, but now we're just cleaning up parts of that main show building for the ride before I eventually take a bit of a double take and decide to take off the top and the sides of the building, because it's a bit tall for actual IRL scale. So I'm just making sure that it fits to the right height. And then above that, well, to the side of that first, of course, needed to delete that and then fill that back in. I'm not really going to bother with the side of it sticking out because I'm lazy. Also, it's kind of out of guest view, so it doesn't really matter at all. And just putting in the top layer of wood around the top. Oh, randomly stacking it up now. Got to make sure that's 3 meters tall, not 2 or 4. And that is mostly the main walls of the building. And now I'm just adding in the roof. And I'm not the largest fan of building roofs, as you can see if you go back to the Bertie Bus episode. I had a bit of problem with a roof there, as well as in episode 12. The roof for the station in Thomasland, that was a bit of a pain, you could say. And just need to make sure that that front bit of the wall is also put in, because you don't really want to have a floating roof, you know. Also filling up the back, because the back also kind of needs to happen, even though it's out of guest sight. Still need to do it, because once you're actually in the building, you can still see it, of course. So something that I wasn't able to add into this game for some reason, the teacups ride in Planet Coaster does not enable the floor to go up to 90 degrees, which I find absolutely outrageous. For example, the one in Drayton Manor, Drunken Barrels, in the cycle, the main ride platform, and like a lot of other teacups across the world, it goes to about a 45-degree angle. And so when you're going through the spinning, not only are you spinning like crazy, you're also spinning crazy whilst going downhill. So I absolutely love Drunken Barrels. Always make sure that I ride it whilst I'm in Drayton Manor. I think I've consistently rode it every single time since I was 10, which I reckon deserves some form of world record. Now I'm just adding in the main sort of sign that says Drunken Barrels, but there is where it says Drunken Barrels, just making sure that I shuffle it up a bit before making sure that the entrance sign is there. Gotta make sure that the colour scheme's alright as well, because colour schemes exist. And the font! Fonts are also important. There's more colour scheming. Gotta make sure that everything is correct. And now I'm just working out how to put in the best window possible, and in the end I decided to go for this fairy tale hearts window design. So the actual door on the building does have hearts on it, so that's what I went off. It's just the shutters are closed, which I can't really do much about. And underneath that there's like a flower, and that's just what I've put in there. And then above this window is this big, like, I guess you could say, bottle of beer. And instead of a bottle of beer, I decided to go PG friendly and also Planet Coaster friendly, because there isn't really a pint. So I decided to go with some bricks. Yeah, gotta love your gingerbread bricks. And that is the Drunken Barrels. I'm just making sure that there's a nice little rim around the outside of there. I don't know if I will actually add in the Drunken Barrels girl. We should probably give her a name. You should put down in the comments what you want to call the girl from Drunken Barrels. If you want to call them... I don't think I can work out what I would want to call them, so that's why I've left that to you guys down in the comments below. So please do that if you have time to come up with a random name for a random lady that poses with two steins outside of a teacups ride. So just putting in some of the bricks outside of the Sheriff Showdown. Of course, the bricks are a bit darker, and I will eventually change the colour of this entire pavement. Handy, I guess, part of having a pavement in Planet Coaster is the fact that you can just shove whatever you want on top of it. So in this occasion I shoved bricks above the path, because the brick paving in the game is not the best, I will admit. So now just adding a nice border around these plants, because what is a plant without a nice border around it? Borderless. Haha, fun jokes with Shardark. And just making sure that there is this nice little square around the outside of where this, I guess, nice little hedge thing is. So it's like there's a hedge that goes around the outside of this border. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, and I'm just adding that in. So I feel like this park, from what I've built so far, hasn't got enough greenery in it. So I do try and focus on adding in as many, I guess, bushes as possible in this episode, because if you look at the park from the sky, it does look very grey. There I am just adding in the bench. So there is a wall that goes, this is the park boundary wall, and yeah, and the wall goes up a hill. As you can see, I've made the hill there, just I found that that hill was a bit too steep, and that is a statement that I still stand by today, because I recorded it on Sunday and I'm recording this on the Tuesday, so days of the week, wow. So there is also a stone thing that goes along the side of these walls. I had the walls placed on the wrong tile, so then I wasn't really able to put down the stone properly, and I'm just making sure that the park boundary keeps on going up alongside the gradient of the park. That's all looking very nice. Now I'm just adding in a couple more pillars in advanced mode this time. Yeah, fancy. And then just trying to work out what is the best way that I can put in this main outer fence for cars to drive through. So I decided to go with some of these painted walls. And then there's also a couple of lights that go along the outside of those. So I used some lamp posts. It's just I shoved the lamp post into the middle of the walls, so then there was only the actual lamp post sticking out, and also made that door. And I'm just rerouting a couple of these paths, because paths are made to be rerouted. It's like the rules are made to be broken, it's just Asphalt special. So these are another set of bathrooms, and these bathrooms are quite special bathrooms because there is a sign on the wall that literally, I am not joking, says Superloo. So the main aim for making these toilets is to make them as super as possible. It's just unfortunately the paths on the inside of the building did not want my toilets to be that super, so the Superloos, they are trolling you. It is a scam. Do not go into the Superloo. And just adding on the little, I guess, out exits for the Superloos. Not really sure why they're there. I'm not an architect. And as I told you, I am now adding in more bushes, because bushes are cool. Quite a lot of bushes down this bit. How many times I'm going to say bushes, I don't know. Ask Mr. Bush, because the bushes are not sure how many bushes the bush needs to bush. Pretty much sure I put a Christmas tree down for a second there. Why did I put a Christmas tree down? I don't know. Well, there was a Christmas tree. Now just adding in a couple of bushes, more bushes, and there is a fence that goes along the outside and heads down towards a door in the side of the Superloo. It's probably so people can access the Superloo to super glue the Superloo if it breaks. They're just making sure that the terrain and just the colour of the concrete was correct before building the entrance sign for Apocalypse. So the way I did it was I found two big triangles, and then for the two metal beams that go between them with the sign on, I decided to use wood, and then there's also a wooden sign on top of that I fill in with Apocalypse, find a cool font, and we're on with our next clip. And that is where I put in this path that goes along the back of the Ferris wheel and towards part of Apocalypse. So just working my way around with this low fence. In real life it's one of those fences where it's like, it's low down and it is like a cuboid of wood, and instead of it being flat, the top corner is sticking up. So it's a bit of a pain when you're sitting down on one. And I'm just moving up the main path, because this path was a bit of annoying because there is a set of stairs, and spoiler alert, for in about 20 seconds time, probably not even that, I just decided to keep it as it was. So, waiting for the 20 seconds to come. There we go, that was a fantastic 20 seconds. Oh no. Well done, Dan on Sunday. You've done fantastically. So now I'm adding in that fence that goes around the back of Apocalypse. Before coming up with the main queue line, I made the queue line for this a bit wrong multiple times. So you'll have to excuse with me going back on myself quite a few times here. I'm sorry, I can do a crying YouTuber apology. I'm so sorry I failed you guys, because I did stuff. So now, just making sure that these main fences are actually accurate. So just putting in this main fence that goes between the stand-up and the sit-down queue lines, because when you go on Apocalypse, you have the option to either stand up or sit down. Personally, I haven't been on Apocalypse, and I really do hopefully hope to get on it someday before they close it, because the looping group and just Drayton Manor as a whole kind of want to close it, which is quite upsetting. That I don't think I'll ever be able to ride it, unless if I do get to ride it whilst it's still operational, then I will be happy. For some reason I'm rerouting that, for no apparent reason whatsoever, and just making the queue line. For some reason this main queue line would not actually connect up with the path, which, once again, is very annoying. I checked if it was the priority pass, that line that I was trying to attach to the main queue, but no, it was not. The main queue line, for some reason, would not connect to the path. These are only problems that I would get whilst recording a video. So I will try this between episodes. I probably won't, because I'll forget. I know I'll forget, so why am I making problems? Anyway, it is now the end of the video. Like it if you enjoyed, and bye.